Alright, next up we got a Lucio VOD. I would like to know what general mistakes I'm making that prevent me from climbing. I've been stuck low plat for the last 3 seasons. I want to know how to get better with my engagements, okay? I'd also like to know when to go Reddit mode on Lucio. For example, to contest a Widow's space. Also, my voice chat isn't working properly for some reason. I can hear but not talk. That's how I recommend most people play anyway. Even hearing is sometimes too much. But regardless, we can definitely take a look at that. Redditing is obviously a skill that is necessary to climb. But you also have to be really smart about it. You can't just be only Reddit Lucioing, because it won't work. Lucio is good at a few things, and Redditing is only one of them, so we'll go through that. Now, I guess as a way to start off the VOD. So, firstly, there's sort of 3 things that Lucio does well. One is peel. 2 is help our team engage. And then 3 is contest enemy DPS / enable yours. And apologies for my handwriting. But the third one is the Redditing one, right? The main 2 are sort of how you would go about your positioning. And the last one is basically what you can be doing in between the first 2. So ideally, you're like helping your team engage. So, example, in this, you're going to be helping your Zaya speed around the map. But you can only do that if it's like step 1 is fulfilled. So you got to check this. And it's less important in this specific scenario because Moira is pretty self-sufficient with Fade and her life steal with her primary fire, as well as her heal orb that she can give to herself. So she has a lot of survivability. So you automatically get a little bit of a skip with this first step, and then you're looking to support the Zaya. Now, if the Zaya isn't in a position to go in, say she doesn't have bubbles, or she just has gone in, or they're pushing and you're just sort of kiting for now, or you're just waiting for ults, you're poking out, those sorts of situations, then is when you skip to step 3, which is going Reddit and punishing the widow that's split off, or maybe pressuring the I was gonna say mummy because that's a that's a in-game name, the Mercy, sorry, if she's mispositioned, or the Echo if she's split from the Mercy, or pressure out the Moira if the Moira looks to go aggressive, like these sorts of things, right? In terms of your team comp, you can really assist your Widow to get around the map, so she's not using gravel to do it, grapple, sorry, but also you can look to help her maintain the space that she's occupying to begin with, especially because she's going to be consistently contested by these 2, unless the Mercy is pocketing the Bastion, in which case, whenever you see those 2 going together, it gives you an opportunity to go for the Echo instead. So yeah, those are the main things that we'll look at. In terms of your engagements and positioning, that's definitely going to factor into it. Those 3 main playstyles, especially if we get a squishier support that we also have to count that into a effect. Take that into account. Sorry, that's the phrase I was looking for. We're alright, we're clearing out this high ground, but the problem with this is that it's not really something that is important to them, right? So you need to be really careful when you pick and choose your fights, because doing this right now is demanding a lot of resources to come from your Moira, and it could even just get you picked, right? Dying for somewhere like this is just an absolute feed, because this doesn't provide any value. What does provide value is this spot, any flank routes around the back here, this sort of high ground for the Echo, and then obviously these tunnels that come around the back, including this one as well, right? Those are the main things. So if you're trying to occupy as many of those as possible, occupying this space is good, but you don't want to ever be going out to here because of the lack of natural cover, right? You have this doorway as a bit of natural cover, this train, but you know, if you're already here, you then have to somehow get across this gap, and without this Moira pocketing you, 9 times out of 10 you're probably dead here. So just be careful not to overextend. This is part of picking your moments in terms of when you can afford to red it. But right now, your Zarya is that Zarya? No, that's Junkrat. Where's is that Zarya? I'm not sure. I'll check. But basically, we should be allowing our Zarya to go in. No, this is Zarya, okay. That was a little late. But still, we can help our Junkrat hold this space in absence of our Zarya, and he's holding an off angle. If we can just sit around somewhere like here, so he's in our aura, and then we can easily still deny this. We can throw spam damage down this way and charge our ult, and we just sit on heal aura for the time being, and support him that way. But now we're sort of like peeling for our tank. Did we use amp on ourselves? Yeah, we did. So that's also less than ideal. You can be selfish with your auras, like obviously if your team wants to speed but you need to be on healing aura, that's fine. But if you're using amp for yourself and no one else, then that's obviously less than ideal. You can obviously speed boost yourself if you want to then go aggressive on a DPS or like contest a space, but it should still benefit your team if you're positioning correctly. This healing is like, obviously other people are in it, but everyone's also really healthy at the moment, right? Like all these health bars are very healthy, so it is pretty selfish use. We come back here now, and we're sitting in main. This is fine. They sort of play into the Widow. And now we're walking with our Zarya. This is good. Again, a danger zone here though, and I expect we're going to die in a second because there's no natural cover, right? I'm a very big fan of not respecting the Widow, unless she gives you a reason to. But she just gave you a reason to there. And that was the problem, right? Is that you couldn't be constantly like, you only had one surface to wall ride on, and when you were on it, you didn't even have cover. So it made it really difficult. And anytime you're having to go vertically to use cover, it's going to be really slow, and it makes the shot really easy for her to hit. So yeah. This is another case of, good, you supported your Zarya, but the second she got peeled by the Mercy and we couldn't peel the Mercy, then we need to kite out with our Zar, and then maybe we're in a better position to contest the Widow, so she doesn't pick off our Widow. But everyone's sort of, and I'm not saying it's directly your fault, but you and the Zarya together force this, these two mispositions, right? The Moira is too concerned with trying to heal her because you're not getting her out, and the Widow's playing aggressively because you are and thinks she has to, and just ends up, you guys end up taking a team fight where you shouldn't, especially as you're a man down, and then you're 2 men down, and then Zarya just gets out, and the Widow goes for a trick shot, doesn't pull off. So again, we don't need to care about Moira too much, especially because they're not on a dive comp. But what I am looking for is for you to really just, like, the thing about Redditing and you talking about engaging on this Widow is, you only have to engage on the Widow if you've already given up the position to her. You can be in these positions already and deny her ever taking them and force her to play in really bad positions, and then even aggress on her. But if you're playing reactively and sort of giving up these positions for free and then letting her position in them, you're going to have a really hard time then going and redditing and finding these moments to engage and leave your team. I'll just slow it down and watch that again. Your Widow's in danger, but it's fine. Or your Widow's weak, I should say. We go and contest the Widow. Also learn your matchups a little bit. Wall riding is good, but make sure you are Again, not doing it when you only have one surface to go off, because any movement in the air where you're not on a wall gives you a really predictable travel arc and makes it easier for hit-scan heroes to hit you. Or projectile as well. If you have a predictable movement arc, it just makes you easier to hit in general. But let's see where Xayah is during all of this. Because she's full charge, right? So really good to be able to just move her around the map. Practically full charge. But she's just having to give up all this space, right? And it's because she took so much damage. You could argue she could be playing closer to corner and not be taking so much damage. But if you're able to speed her out here, slash just speed her around the map, even if it is up to places like this, she can do your job that you're currently doing. You can do it with a slash. You can also just walk on this ram slash bastion as he swings into a power position. If you were just sitting with the Xayah either here or here, you also have boop to deny their periods of aggression. Like being able to boop away a ram that's using Nemesis form has a lot of value because you're denying his sort of peaks of value. You're lowering them to like here, and then you're giving yourself maybe even like a shorter uptime, so you're giving your team a quicker engagement option or opportunity. Still a good kill, got it. Now we need to mark the res though. Unless he's gonna Valk to res it. No, she doesn't get it off, that's fine. It'll also be your job in this team. Whenever you see a Mercy, it's your job to mark the res. Good peel. Now we have a Genji as well, so we can really position with him as a flanker to pressure out either Bastion, pressure out Kiri, or pressure out Mercy. Widow as well, but you just have to hard commit to it, and so it might make it a bit tricky. I like that ult. That's good. You have so much movement, you can be way more annoying than this. Like, you could be sitting in this mines, spamming from here to be able to quickly build ult, or alternatively, you can be sitting on this roof doing the same thing, just spamming down what we call like tight sightlines, which is like they only have the width of this corridor to move left and right. So being able to just spam like a quick 1, 2, 3 across here and like keep doing that in terms of like where you shoot your shots with crosshair, that allows you to just really build up ultimate quite quickly, as well as if you can find these tight sight lines in positions where you still have teammates in aura and you can be sitting on heal aura. That's how you're going to be able to build ult. But now you really need to be careful about sitting with your Xayah and making sure that you're helping her out, because if she gets walked on by the Reinhardt and the Reinhardt's able to take space easily, the Bastion's just going to melt her, and it almost does just straight away. So she's in a lot of trouble now, and she's dead. And that's sort of the difference between positioning up here and positioning over here, right? You still need to play to your team. As much as you may want to position here, if your team is all the way over here, but your Xayah is here, like it might not have been a bad place to start, because I actually think it denies a lot of space, and you're able to go on people if they push out here. But the second you see the Ryan and that walk out this way, then, and you can sort of like account for DPS, everyone here is sort of safe, Moira is close by. You need to go help your Xayah. If the Moira was like literally anchoring to your Xayah, then you may be okay to stay here, or just sort of play your radius and get to that this rock that you're looking at now. But because the Moira fades away, you can see she's half health. Then you see a Rhine shield, you see the Bastion. I'm immediately trying to help the Zaya in this situation because she needs help. She needs to be able to speed in and out. She needs to be quick around the map. Because there's less redditing for you to do now, especially when they don't have a Widow. Ryan sort of helped you dodge that flashbang or EMP nade. And again, just marking the res. Mercy should set off an internal screaming alarm for you in terms of I need to always be, I need to be like quite calculated in my boop usage because I need to be denying every res, especially when you are the one pressuring out the DPS that die. Yeah, as well. Where's Zaya during all that? You die late. She came back and she died again. I just don't even think I would go in at this point if the Zaya's dead, but yeah, Genji tries to go for a heroic play, pardon me. Whereas we could have just saved Grav Blade for the next fight, so I don't think there's a lot to comment on here other than maybe just amp heals when the fight starts to develop so that you're getting ult charge. But there's pretty much, in this scenario, there's no reason for you to be near Ryan or shooting Ryan. Unless you're trying to get the last like 5% of your ult to specifically counter something of theirs, which there isn't much to counter, then yeah, there's no position, there's no reason why you should be there. Like, instead of positioning right here, we can be up on here, we can be playing here. Or maybe that's a bit aggressive, but like maybe like here, you need to abuse your ridiculous amount of mobility more. That doesn't mean like necessarily sitting on the walls, but this is good, like where you are now. I like this. Find your own angle. Now, I'll swap to your POV in case you didn't see it. But that Cassidy that just peeked around on the right, this is the sort of things you need to be having an eye for, and this is why we position in places like this, because it lets us, you know, go to our tracer. Oh, this has gone dark again. Let's just go to our tracer. Lets us peel off this Cassidy that pushes this zone. Lets us press W with our Zaya. Gives us our options. We have peel to our backline if we needed to, which would be the Hanzo in this situation. And also just indirectly positioning here makes it a safe place for your Hanzo to sit, like here or here, right? They'll feel safer / you can get them out if shit hits the fan. And you do, I mean, you technically see it, whether like it was on your screen, whether you saw it or not. And he also shoots and you get the audio for it. In which case, you know, you can be absolutely aggressive on this. I know he's a little scary with his magnetic grenade, but at the same time, this is different to above the train carriage because you have so much vertical space. But you also have like wall, even wall sort of on the ceiling, like a lot of walls to bounce between, making it really easy to stay above him where it's harder for him to hit you. Let's help our Zah. Yeah, I thought that was just staying for the sake of booping the Rhine was just not the play. We can just get out. Like, you get the end of the beat, but then you're so overextended that you don't even get a chance to use it. And we didn't. So I'll let it play out a little longer. But like we had a perfect opportunity to just sit on our own angle here, or like engage on them from behind and go for a Reddit Lucio play, like on this Mercy, like really annoy the Mercy, or force out the Kiriko to use cleanse on herself. But instead we rotate to then being behind our team, to then face tanking all the damage. If you were trying to be in Coalescence, you can make that argument, I guess. We could also make it by just positioning behind them. It's still in range of the Coalescence. But like these are your opportunities to split. Like it's sort of about a checklist. Like, okay, is my support and my backline safe? So Trace is a flanker, so don't worry about her. Just worry about these two. Are they safe? Mori's got a lot of sustain. Hanzo was in a safe position before the Kiri went on him, so check. Then where does my Xayah need to get to? All right, she got into the fight because the Rhine sort of walked on her. But can I go help her? Yes. Do I need to be sitting on top of her to do that? No. I can just sit somewhere like here. I can engage on the Kiri, do more indirect healing through relieving the damage coming out, whether that's by the Kiri's kunai or if it's the fact that she can't pocket the Bastion to keep playing aggressively. That's more indirect healing than you're going to do than by sitting on here and booping people away or whatever. Better off that you misplace people with boop and try and do some Reddit Lucio gameplay. In which case, like that would be ticking off your Xayah because you get amp heals, and that's when you go to 3, which is contesting DPS / enabling your own, which could be, you know, playing this angle with the Hanzo, right? Or it could be if the Tracer had come on a flank here, that would also be the same thing, like supporting from this way. This is your opportunity to contest this space that they're engaging on. The same way as if their 4-stack of Bastion, Ikiri, Mercy, and Rhine went in here, and we had Xayah, Moira, and Tracer in here. This is a 3v4. I would much rather want to see us, like, let's say they still had a Widow, or even the Cassidy. If the Cassidy is like pressing up here, I would want to see us then peeling up here and helping force a 2v1 with our Hanzo on this high ground, right? Helping your DPS, contesting their DPS, and securing a power position. Because as the fight is going to take place in this sort of, if I can zoom out a bit, can I still see if I go? No. But as fight is going to happen in this area, this high ground becomes a power position, right? Becomes a crucial position, even more so than this one, which is currently being contested. You know, it's really important that the Hanzo does a good job here, and it's really important right now in this moment that we now see that we go help him survive this 1v1 that's currently happening, right? If he can live this, and you can, even if you don't get the kill, if you can force out Swift Step, you force the Kiriko to play really passively, and then you enable your Hanzo to play up here, and then you go do something else. You go leverage your really quick mobility to then go move on to the next thing. You know, you did that job. Well, what's the next job? Perhaps helping the Xayah peel for the Xayah against this Rhine. Maybe it's committing with the Tracer onto this Mercy, right? Perhaps it's making sure that your Moira is okay in case the Bastion is spamming her or the Rhine is about to start swinging on her by the looks of it. I just press play for a sec. Yeah, he is. He's trying to walk on her, right? But this is definitely the next thing that should be on your mind. But instead, we're sort of tunneling on the Bastion, which, if this was a DPS, sure, and if we're going on a Tracer, I mean a different DPS, then sure, and if we're going on a Tracer, and it, like, basically if it was a favorable 1v1, then absolutely, / if they had a good chance of dying. But with the Mercy Valk, the Bastion armor, you're going to need a lot of damage, and you can do that if you just quickly help your Hanzo win this 1v1, because instead he gets forced out, he has to drop in the middle of their team, and if the Bastion had realized that at all, he'd probably be dead. But he gets away with it, which is good. Now we should be going and helping our Xayah, because she is deep. That's the problem with booping pinning Rhines as well. It's usually... Do you even get that? Maybe you don't. I was going to say it's a general rule of thumb to just not boop a Rhine, because if he's pinning, everyone knows where he's going. Once you boop him, yeah, you definitely hit that. I think someone still gets pinned, but it's probably the Zaya, and she has a bubble, so... Yeah, that might have been a misplay by you. But the bigger misplay is missing your Zaya in the first place, right? You see her get pinned, and you shoot her, but then you focus with what's on point when your Zaya is the one in need. So this is the tricky part about playing Lucio, is you really need a keen set of eyes to be watching everything. It's not enough to just watch their team and their threats to you. You need to be watching your team, you need to be watching your support, check that they're okay, you need to be engaging and enabling your tank, you need to be then contesting DPS slash peeling for your own. Like, there's so many things, and that's why besides like wall riding mechanics and stuff like that, he's just like a lot of macro game sense that you have to think about, and he's the most mechanically challenging main support because of his wall riding and Reddit Lucio capabilities. But that's, again, that's a play style that's not like compulsory to his kit, whereas this other stuff is absolutely in any play style. I would go take that duel with that Bastion. He's by himself. You just got a couple of good shots to get him below his armor threshold. That could have been an opportunity there, but I don't mind you playing passively right now because the Moira is coming back from spawn. It's an engage beat, I don't mind it, but we're too in the middle of everything right now. We still need to skate around the edges, stick to the walls. Now go right at the Mercy that's pocketing him instead of shooting the Rhine. Never be shooting the Rhine. Never be shooting tanks in general, but especially not Reinhardt. You don't do enough to him. And he shields off your damage to stop you from getting ult charge too. Oh, if you died right there, that would have been so bad. That's all good though. Yeah, over aggressive again and get shattered for it. So just about finding that balance, and when you are playing aggressive, make sure you're abusing your hero strengths, which is verticality and very high mobility in general. But you're being punished right now for looking and being near the Rhine in general. That's what happened last time too. So yeah, I think I'll leave it for that because I feel like I've talked about a lot. But yeah, I hope this all makes sense. I hope you understand what I'm talking about. Lucio is definitely a higher thinking support than most, so it can be tricky to wrap your head around, and your mechanics may suffer at times for it, but that's totally understandable. But if anything needs explaining, just shoot me a message, let me know. Other than that, all the best with your games.